There is also way too much focus on the LGBTQ community by the fandom in a negative manner, and it just needs to go away, I think, for a healthy story to grow, and for Riri to really share her limelight with...
Natalie AI thing seems utterly preposterous and ridiculous, and even for an MCU show, I'm finding it to be a little bit of a bridge too far to go. The Heist crew, all lame. Every single one of them, all lame.
And so in this, I'm not sure what they're meant to be, because this character isn't to be confused with Slog.
Slug, our hacker extraordinaire.
Who is also the exact opposite in the same show. I'm really confused.
It deserves your attention. Ironheart deserves your attention. That's how I knew. I was like, oh, they are desperate to get people to watch this show. But after I did my reaction, I kept getting, hey, it wasn't that bad. I just watched it. Hey, I just watched the first 3 episodes. It wasn't that bad.
Ironheart might be one of the worst executed ideas ever in the MCU, because under all that garbage was actually potential.
Yeah, and it's like the real Tony Stark. It's like back somehow, and there's like a moment where she's flying through and he's like, who is that? And she's like, I'm Ironheart, Mr. Stark. And he's like, I like that girl. And then he like goes to do something else. Like that would be like the level of something that I think would possibly happen.
Ironheart is back, this time going to an uncomfortable place for viewers.
Ironheart is the biggest L of Marvel of all time. The reactions are just spectacular. Supposedly smarter than Tony Stark, bites an electric wire, sells her soul to gain magic powers, uses new powers to steal. What did the writers mean by this? Smoke detector beeps.
I can understand why she's frustrated. That's how I feel watching her interviews.
How do you feel about the impact that she's having on young Black girls? And I'm going to be completely honest, on Black women.
You know, this is yet another area that's getting vibrant. It's getting full in the way that it should be.
Ironheart is practically unwatchable.
This show basically keyed their car, their mom, and in their bowl of cereal in the morning.
They have Dominique Thorne, you know, going out there talking about DEI, LGBTQ rights, and how there's no agenda there, and she continues to do so. But the other thing is that they also had Robert Downey Jr., and they had him roll out and really kind of prop the show up and prop the character of Riri Williams up above Tony Stark.
Welcome back, you guys, and today we have to talk about Ironheart, because something wild just happened. The lead actress, Dominique Thorne, is officially blaming you, yes, the audience, for the show's total meltdown. In the middle of what might be Marvel's biggest silent flop ever, she's now suggesting that fans are just too focused on diversity and LGBTQ themes to appreciate what the show was really trying to do. And honestly, that move is not sitting well with anyone, because Ironheart didn't just underperform, it completely vanished. $200 million project. No press, no trailers, no premiere, no hype. Like, blink and you missed it. And now that the numbers are out and they're not looking good, Marvel's quietly scrambling, RDJ's been brought in to save face, and Thorne's comments are lighting up fan forums. But what if I told you that this show's failure wasn't even the biggest shocker? There's something even more bizarre that went down in the finale, involving Riri and the actual devil. Yeah, we're going there. Let's break it down. So, here's the thing. Ironheart wasn't just a low-performing show, it was a full-on stealth flop. And fans clocked it from day one. Marvel didn't promote it, didn't advertise it, didn't even tweet about it. That's not normal. Not for a studio that usually throws a week-long countdown just for a teaser trailer. What's even crazier?
Crew.
Here's the squad. Clown, our pyrotechnic specialist.
There's Clown, our pyrotechnics. That means she sets fire to things. She's from Portland. Never saw a car she didn't want to burn.
This wasn't some low-budget side project. Disney reportedly poured $200 million into Ironheart. That's blockbuster money. That's enough to shoot an Avengers sequel. But instead of promoting it like the next big MCU chapter, they dumped the first 3 episodes on a random Tuesday with zero fanfare. No cast interviews, no premiere party, not even a 30-second hype reel on the official Marvel account. And the results? Brutal. According to third-party tracker Luminate, Ironheart didn't even chart. Not in the top 10, not in the top 20, nowhere. By comparison, Daredevil, Born Again, pulled over 300 million viewing minutes in its first 3 days. Ironheart? Crickets. Complete digital silence. Even Marvel insiders started whispering that this wasn't a launch, it was a burial, a quiet rollout designed to keep expectations low. A let it flop in peace kind of move. And fans felt that. There were no Reddit mega threads, no trending hashtags, even TikTok, which can make literal garbage go viral, stayed silent. And then, just when people started asking, wait, did this show even drop? Marvel made their next move. They rolled out the big guns, Robert Downey Jr. Yup, the man, the myth, the Stark legend himself. Suddenly, he's everywhere. Talk shows, podcast spots, interviews, singing Riri Williams' praises. He says she's the future of the MCU, that she carries Tony's legacy. But let's be real, it didn't feel organic.
Money she wasn't jealous of. Or
Watch the series and it's just hot garbage. It still has right now on IMDb a 3.7 out of 10. That's like Snow White level bad. It's the worst thing that Disney streaming has ever produced.
It felt like Marvel slapped the panic button and said, quick, get RDJ to say something nice. And even fans who love him saw through it, because if the character had truly stood on her own, she wouldn't need Iron Man's approval as a crutch. But that wasn't the only thing making people raise eyebrows, because what went down in the finale was something no one expected, and not in a good way. So, let's talk about that finale, because Marvel didn't just fumble the bag, they dropped it straight into the underworld, literally. In a twist that left everyone either confused or straight up annoyed, Ironheart ends with Riri Williams making a deal with Mephisto. Yep, Marvel's version of the devil. Now, let's pause for a second. Riri was supposed to be the tech genius prodigy, the next Iron Man, a young black woman building her own suit from scrap, repping brains, brilliance, and independence. But instead of showing us her struggle, her breakthrough, or even just her learning curve, they give us a demon pact. And this wasn't some metaphor. This wasn't played like a tragic fall or a deep emotional conflict. It was just, boom, deal signed, powers unlocked, like she was negotiating a startup investment, not handing her future over to literal evil. Critics were like, wait, what? Fans were more confused than angry, because the twist didn't just come out of nowhere, it undercut the entire point of Riri's character. She was supposed to represent progress, innovation, and hope, but instead of fighting through adversity, she basically said, yeah, I'll team up with Satan. Cool, thanks.
So these are the reviews on IMDb. You can see here, 52% now giving it a 1 star.
See, it deserves your attention. Ironheart deserves your attention. That's how I knew. I was like, oh, they are desperate to get people to watch this damn show. After I did my reaction, I kept getting.
It's like the writers wanted to be edgy but forgot about context, setup, and, basic emotional stakes. There was no build-up, no inner conflict, no real consequences. Just a surprise, she's in league with Mephisto now kind of moment. And it didn't land. At all. Because what should have been a bold character arc turned into a punchline. Viewers weren't shocked. They were disconnected. Even people who wanted to like the show felt let down. And when that moment hit social media, crickets again. No big reactions, no think pieces, no debates, just awkward silence. Because when a twist this wild drops and no one cares, that's worse than hate. That's pure apathy. But Marvel wasn't done. Because while the story spiraled, the studio had one more card to play. And this time, it was personal. And this is where things really go sideways. Because just when you thought it couldn't get messier, Dominique Thorne pops up and basically says, it's the fans. Y'all are the problem. Yup, the lead actress of Ironheart goes full send in a recent interview, claiming Marvel fans need to stop focusing on diversity and LGBTQ support, like it's some kind of coded message, says people are misinterpreting the story, that the backlash isn't about the writing, it's about what she thinks people don't want to see. Now look, let's not twist it. Representation matters, but blaming the audience when your show tanks, that's not it. Especially when the numbers are this bad, like measurable flop, documented digital tumbleweed, and the vibe, pure ego. She came off like she was above the criticism. Like if you didn't love Ironheart, it must be because you weren't ready for it. Not because the pacing was off, not because the plot was scrambled eggs, not because the characters were flatter than a budget green screen. Nope, it's because you don't get it. The internet did not take that well. Reddit lit up, TikTok stitched it, even casual fans who didn't watch the show were like, wait, what's happening? And here's the thing, it's not even that people were mad, they were bored. That's the scary part.
Hey, it wasn't that bad. I just watched it. Hey, I just watched the first 3 episodes. It wasn't that.
Marvel used to dominate pop culture. Now it drops a $200 million project, and the biggest reaction it gets is a confused shrug. And while Dominique is pointing fingers, the fans are pointing right back. Not at her, but at the writers, at the executives, at the suits who somehow spent hundreds of millions of dollars and forgot to include, a good story. But don't worry, Marvel still had one more move, and it was about to get shady. Alright, so here's where things start to feel shady. Like, behind the curtain, hush hush shady. Because once the early reactions dropped and things started spiraling, fans noticed something weird. Reviews started disappearing. Not just random trolls or spam comments, actual 1-star reviews, full posts, even verified feedback, gone. Poof. Wiped. Especially on Rotten Tomatoes. People would drop honest critiques, stuff like plot felt rushed or character arc made no sense, and within hours, vanished. And it wasn't subtle either. One day the audience scores dragging near the bottom, and the next, it magically starts climbing. Not because people suddenly love the show, but because negative comments were just filtered out. Now, Marvel and Disney aren't new to this. They've been accused before of tweaking early reactions. But this felt obvious, like too on the nose to ignore. Fans were like, wait, are they really trying to scrub this flop out of existence? And here's the kicker. Even after the cleanup, the score still tanked. IMDb hovered around a 4.2. And when you're sitting next to Eternals and Inhumans on the all-time lowest Marvel rankings, yeah, that's a bad day at the office. Even media outlets started calling it out. No official viewership numbers from Disney, no engagement stats, no proud victory tweets like we saw with Agatha or Daredevil, Born Again. It was just silence. Like they dropped a rock into a pond and prayed it wouldn't make a splash. And you know what that tells us? It wasn't just a misfire, it was a quiet emergency. The kind where execs go, nobody talk about this, just move on. But by then, fans had already caught on.
First Ironheart reactions are in. Does it defy the haters? Or is it another skippable series? It's always about you, right? It's always about the audience. It's amazing. Doesn't matter if it's the 2024 election or whether it's a Disney streaming product. It's always about like how evil is the actual voters? How evil are the audience?
The silence spoke louder than any PR statement ever could. And just when we thought the cleanup was done, Marvel went and did the one thing that guaranteed even more backlash. So here's the part where Marvel really tried to spin the narrative. After the awkward rollout, the disappearing reviews, and Dominique Thorne pointing fingers, someone at the top must have gone, okay, time to bring in the big guns. Enter Robert Downey Jr., the man, the myth, the OG Iron Man. Suddenly, he's all over the place. Late-night interviews, podcasts, quick press blurbs, and the message, all the same. Riri Williams is the future of the MCU. She represents Tony Stark's legacy. She's everything the franchise needs right now. Now, we love RDJ. That's not up for debate. But this felt weird. Like, Marvel wasn't just asking us to support Riri, they were begging, using RDJ's legacy like duct tape to fix a crumbling storyline, and the timing was way too convenient. Right after the negative press hit, right after the ratings dropped. Suddenly, they needed Tony Stark's blessing to give Riri credibility, and fans saw through it. Fast. Because instead of feeling like a genuine passing of the torch, it came across like a PR script, a checklist moment. Get RDJ, say nice things, hope fans forget the rest. But here's the thing. Legacy doesn't work like that. You can't just say someone's the new Iron Man and expect it to land. Tony Stark earned that title over multiple movies, multiple failures, personal growth, sacrifice. Riri, she struck a deal with the devil in episode 6 and barely had a real arc. The comparison wasn't just unfair, it was disconnected from what fans actually care about. And RDJ being pulled into the mess made it feel even more desperate, like they were using nostalgia as a shield. But nostalgia only works if the new thing feels earned. And in Ironheart, it didn't. But that wasn't even the worst part. Because behind all the PR fluff and feel-good legacy talk, the show still had one major problem. And it was the one thing Marvel used to be amazing at. Let's just say it. Marvel forgot how to build a hero. That's what really happened here. Riri Williams was supposed to be this genius-level teen from Chicago. Brilliant, bold, building an Iron Man suit from scraps in her garage. Sounds incredible on paper, right? But when the show dropped, that's not what we got. What we got was a character already being treated like a legend. From episode 1, she's labeled as the smartest, the next Stark, the one to watch. But here's the problem. We never got to see her earn it. No breakdowns, no setbacks, no "oh no, I screwed up, let me fix it" kind of moment. Just Riri walking in like she already had the answers. And look, Marvel's past heroes all started flawed. Tony was an arrogant weapons dealer. Steve was the scrawny kid jumping on grenades. Peter Parker was barely holding it together in high school. And that's why fans connected. They weren't just cool, they grew. But with Riri, it's like the show was too scared to let her fail. And that's the real issue, because fans don't root for perfect, they root for real, for the mess, the struggle, the grind. But in Ironheart, every challenge gets waved away. Every mistake is someone else's fault. And when she finally does face a crisis, she signs a deal with the devil like it's a business contract. That's not a journey, that's a checklist. And Marvel built Riri more like a symbol than a person, a collection of traits that looked good in a pitch meeting, but never translated into real emotion on screen. And it shows. Viewers didn't laugh, cry, or scream at the finale. They didn't even rage tweet. They just moved on. Because when a story has no soul, there's nothing to hold on to, nothing to fight for. And that's when Marvel should have realized this wasn't just a content flop, it was a connection crisis. So, what did we really just watch? Not just a failed show, not just a bad rollout, but a warning shot, loud and clear. Ironheart wasn't misunderstood. It wasn't too ahead of its time. It was mishandled top to bottom. A $200 million series dropped in silence. A main character with no arc. A finale twist that made no emotional sense. And a lead actress sent out to blame the fans for not vibing with it. Let's be real. Marvel didn't even try to save it. No marketing, no celebration, not even fake hype. Just RDJ doing PR runs and then radio silence. And that silence, it said everything. Because Marvel used to build legends. They knew that people showed up for stories with heart, heroes with flaws, and arcs that meant something. But somewhere along the way, it became about branding, messages, checklists, buzzwords. And fans feel that. Audiences aren't asking for perfect. They're asking for real, for a character to fall before they rise, for emotion, for tension, for heart. And if Marvel can't deliver that anymore, the logo isn't enough to carry them. Ironheart didn't just vanish because people hated it. It vanished because they didn't care. And in this game, indifference is the real death sentence. Not backlash, not controversy, silence. So when people look back at this moment, they won't just say Ironheart flopped. They'll say, that's when the fans stopped listening. And if Marvel doesn't start listening back, this won't be the last time something disappears into the void. Because the formula is cracked, and the audience is paying attention.